Hi, we're here today with Regena Dennie on April 10th, 2014. Hi, Regina. How you doing?
Good morning, Patricia.
So I'm just wanted to start off with, how your family came to Mission San Jose.
Okay, my family came to Mission San Jose. Was my dad? Actually, it was my dad and my dad that came first here. My great aunt, Sister Mary Rosaria Koenigsberger, was a Dominican sister. She was one of the first to enter in 1891 at the convent here, up in Mission San Jose here. After the First World War, things were, well, in Europe were very, very bad here, and several of the sisters who had nephews and brothers, they hired them to come over. They sponsored them. My dad was sponsored by the Dominican sisters, and they were employed by the Dominican sisters. Well, my mother was a very aggressive here young lady here. She wanted to come to America also, even if my dad wasn't here. So she was sponsored by a family in New Jersey, and they paid her passage, and she worked off her passage as a house lady there, and then she stayed long enough to make enough money to get a train ticket to go across the United States. And of course the relationship blossomed, and of course they were married at St. Joseph's Church in 1929 here, and their first home was actually where the Gallagher's were, the mill house. Only it was against the creek. It was a mill house.
So you were born when were you born?
I was born on December the 15th, 1930, in the Niles maternity home.
Oh,
Dr.
right.
Grimmer brought me into this world.
Oh, how...
And Judge Silva's sister, Mrs. Silva, ran the maternity home.
Then you said they moved. When did they move?
Well, I'm not. I know I was already born, and so they moved down here to where they were for the next 50 years.
So Bryant and
Bryant. Well, it was called Bryant and Vine. It was called. Now we call it Anza Street.
So tell me about your brothers and sisters, when they were born and...
Let's see, Cecilia is, she was born 2 years later in January of 1932. And I think Carl, he was born 2 years later, I think. Of course, then my younger sister...
45, perhaps?
I think she must have been born in 45. Yeah.
45. Tell me about your parents' place.
They had a nice acre place and had a well there. And then there was the family that had it before had a huge barn in the back here. Oh, when we were kids, we had a lot of fun with playing. It was a lot of big area. We had right there at the corner, then across the street, which was where we are here. I think the Dutra family had it, and then they had hay here and apricots over there. And we had a lot of fun here. Hay season, they'd stack the bales. Kids, we would jump up and down, we had a lot of fun. Skated down the street here with our skates, with our metal roller. Boy, we wore out one pair of skates after another. And nobody thought about that. Oh, I could hear his mama say at about 4 o'clock as you had to come in because they were coming home from work. Then there was going to be traffic, That meant the Mellows and the Susans were coming home, and there was 3 or 4 cars coming.
You live fairly close to town.
Yes.
What was the town like?
Well, we had 3 streets, the dirt road here, and the town was nice. It was actually like, we went to school because my dad worked over at St. Mary's of the Palms, and we went to school at St. Mary's of the Palms. So I never went to public school. The only kids I got into contact in was the kids that basically lived on the street here.
So, okay, you went through high school, you graduated from high school, then what did you do?
Well, then I tried to look for work. At that particular, I had a dad who didn't believe women needed more than a grade school education.
So you worked at Helen's Fountain for a while. What happened?
Then I worked for J.C. Penney's, so I had to go to San Jose. I never had really, my problem was I never had a transportation where I had to depend on the buses. And the buses went through Irvington, but there was only a couple that went through Mission San Jose, And this was really my problem. And then I worked at J.C. Penney's for a while, and then I could ride with somebody, And then afterwards, I worked for Navalets, the flower shop in San Jose. Also, I did bookkeeping, for. Let's see. Then I got married, and I stopped. I got married. I met my husband, believe it or not, here in Mission San Jose. He was also one of these children who were in homes in Oregon, and I guess there was a group that Well, anyhow, there was a group here in that came here, and they were doing, I guess, well, I guess it was volunteer work at the different convents and different places, you know, and so that's where I met him.
So where did you get married?
St. Joseph's Church.
Oh, how great!
Yeah, St.
What
Joseph's.
year?
In 1954. Actually, it's April 18th, 1954.
So you actually bought a house the first year you were married?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was, yeah, and so, well, you know, they made it quite easy for people, you know, those days.
So were both of you working when you got married?
Yes, and then
Okay.
Patty came. Yeah, Patty came in 1955, June of
55.
1955. Yeah, she and Disneyland opened up at the same day, almost here. Yeah, and yeah, so I've always lived in this house here. Right here, not two little girls here, and then on January the 31st, 1963, my husband dropped dead. My life was very different at that point, you know.
Now, he died of a heart attack?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He was young.
He was 36.
Oh, my God.
I was 32.
You were 32, and now you have two little girls, and
5 and 7.
wow.
Right here. But you know, it was interesting. You talk about it now, I think, yeah. But you know, when you're doing this, it didn't sound almost as bad, you know, as it really was. And then shortly after that, I went to work for Sears and Roebuck. In fact, it was right after the hub opened. The hub opened in 1965. I stayed there for 27 years.
From 1965 until 1992, Regena's family grew. Her daughters graduated from high school, college, and got married. And then the grandchildren came. These were busy, happy times for Regena. As her family grew, they continued to have family gatherings and get-togethers. Her mother and father had their 50th wedding anniversary in 1979, and they moved to a new home. Her dad passed away in 1985, and her mother enjoyed her 80th birthday with her grandchildren all around her. So now you're retired in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
I felt like a lost puppy. I felt like a lost puppy. Of course, I was knee deep in Catholic Daughters, and I did do a lot of volunteer. I taught CCD at St. Joseph's for not a number of years, quite a while here, and
Been a member of Washington Township since '92, so that would have been
an active member. Yeah.
An active member. You started in '76, but active in '92. So that's been over 30 years.
I'm probably one of the I shouldn't say old, probably one of the oldest, but also one of the long-lasting. Virginia Stoll has got, I think, more years than I have. Cecilia Weed called me one day. She says, you know, we're opening this little museum here. And I says, yes, I know you're. She says, we need you. Come on, Regena, because I'd already belonged to the Historical Society. She says, why don't you come on up and see how you like it here? And I think Phil and I came about the same day. I think we both did here. And so that's.
Was it before the museum opened or
Oh,
after?
yeah, 2-3 years, because the museum didn't open until 1995. And I really enjoyed it. It was very close here. And then Mama came to live with me the last year of her life, you know.
Regena, this is a special thanks to your dedicated and loyal service to Washington Township Historical Society and to the Museum of Local History Guild, two of many organizations that you have tirelessly contributed to for so many years. You have touched many people's lives. We thank you.
Good morning, I'm Regena Dennie. I'm your docent for today, and welcome to the Museum of Local History. The museum here is a former firehouse, and we're going to welcome you to the museum.